We will call to order the Board of Aldermen meeting for January 11th. In front of everyone is the packet. There are two agendas. We went ahead and some additional changes to the ordinance to update some of our codes, which we tend to do periodically. So the newest agenda, which is what I'll ask for a motion on, includes revising chapter 100, 300, 355, and 365 versus just the one that had 355. And with that, I'll give everyone a chance to review the minutes from December 14th, and then a motion to approve those two items from the minutes. Everyone had a chance to go through the minutes? If so, do we have a motion to approve the updated agenda as presented in the minutes from December 14th? Second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Hearing none, agenda as presented in minutes from December 14th are approved. Next item of business, since there's no formal participation, is the Plattewoods will give the police report since the chief decided to fly south before it got cold because of the big meeting.
Yeah, you can blame him for the weather. Every time he leaves town, it snows, so. Calls went down, not by much, but by 3 or by 6. Traffic stops went up. We're trying to level out on traffic stops. There's less informational reports and less motor accidents, vehicle accidents, but as we approach the colder days, be aware that that's going to change. We went ahead and put in a thing, told dispatch that we will not be answering any type of calls, accident calls, unless they are disabled vehicles, airbag deployment, and if somebody was injured. If you can walk away, drive away from an accident, it's fine. There's been times where we've just been stuck at that intersection, constantly going down from Prairie to 72nd, just constantly pushing vehicles out of the way, and it creates more of a hassle. There's an up and crimes against persons, and EMS calls were leveled out. Totaling calls for the entire month was 43, and year to date is 798 calls.
Any questions on the police report? If not, there was a document that the chief wanted me to hit the highlights on, which is more of a year-end message. Mainly reflecting on 23. Officer Babbitt retired, and so we've had to make some interdepartmental changes and redelegate some duties. That's working very well. Also, the crimes in Plattewoods for serious offenses have remained significantly lower compared to the resulting surrounding area. I think that's due to our presence and our black and whites, and that's kind of the way I want it. So we're going to continue to keep that visibility up. We also want to make sure that everybody's aware that, this is the time of the year, as Officer Ratliff mentioned, that if there's an accident and you can walk it in, just walk it in and contact the police and we'll handle it that way. Keeps us from tying up our resources, and particularly with icy streets coming up with this cold weather, particularly Prairie View, from basically my house to 7 seconds like a bobsled run. And we usually have to have our guy plus the AT&T crew, the KCATA crew, keep that salted as much as we can. Our city streets, I think we do a pretty good job on. I think the guy was by twice already, Tuesday or whenever it snowed, so we were good, but it's the state highways that tend to get less attention. But they all get better attention than the city streets, so we still should be in pretty good shape. And then everybody wants to make sure that, we keep your cars locked, and with everything going on for the holidays and things like that, we want to make sure everybody stays safe and enjoys the winter and doesn't have to get too cold. If there's no other questions on that, myself or Officer Ratledge, we'll move on to Jessica for the court report.
Okay, for the month of December, we're starting to see it come back up from that lag we had of November's 0 filings. So we had a total of 37 petitions, cases filed by the prosecutor. 24 cases were disposed of with revenues of $1,743.25. Other than that, that our court clerk has been doing a really good job. She's cleared out all the forms now, some of it's done, she's some accounting procedures that she needs to know for showing courts. And
We basically
it seemed like a long, arduous journey, but we're finally starting to see, we're not losing time on showing courts everywhere, so.
We offloaded several hundred files back to the county at once, so that was a big county. We finally got through, so we're doing pretty well. So the staff's doing a really good job of keeping us going and keeping everything compliant. If there's no other questions on court or police, we'll move to Alderman's remarks, since I'm going to be filling in for the committee report for the park. So I'll let you start. Anything?
I have no comments today.
Okay. Nothing? Larry? We're going to be done quick here. As far as the committee reports, we've been getting bids on the furnace replacement for the park house. And the bids we got on haven't been complete enough. They haven't been addressing whether the air conditioning needs to be replaced or not. So I'm in the process of making sure those bids get redone. I suspect that it's still going to be under $7,000 because that's typically what they run when you do both an air conditioning and a heating unit. So I may add to the agenda a motion to go ahead and do that, and then before we let the bid, I'll call each of you and tell you what the final bid was, and we'll get approved that way. So unless you guys have an objection, we'll handle that on the park. Otherwise, it's been doing well. It's been very busy. We're kind of in a 2-week lull. We don't have anything now until the 16th of January. So our hope is we can get the furnace in and replaced before our next event.
May I ask who you're getting your bids from? Just I know one person you would not want to get it from. Is it mine?
The one we got from Snyder out of Platt City and Rescue Services. And then we're also going to look at Arctic Air. So, unless you okay. You want to write it on the bottom? Oh, okay.
I don't have one to recommend to you. I just have one to recommend not to you. So.
If you got one, just send me an email.
No, I don't remember their name. I'd have to look it up, but I thought I'd recognize it. It wasn't anything that you sent.
Yeah. No, just text it to me or email me, and I probably won't get all that done until Monday anyway, so it's going to be cold. I'm not going to do anything until the next week anyway, so if we can get it in by the end of next week, we should be in good shape. With that, there are no other items for committees that I'm aware of. Until spring starts, we probably won't do much more on the park. Then we'll decide if there's anything we want to do on that. If any park grants that come up, we might want to put in a project for, but that's something we'll deal with on the committee and the advisory committee that the park operates under. With that, we will move on to the financials for Candace.
I don't think I everything looks great.
I'll give everybody a chance to look at the financials, and then if Candace has any other comments as we go along, we'll adjust them accordingly.
incomes were down, I know, during the pandemic because lack of sales tax. Have they gotten back to where they were yet, or?
No, I don't think they ever will, just not that many people are going to Gators or purchasing over here at Audubon, and those are the two predominant sales tax generators. We did pass a use tax, but not that much gets bought that applies to the use tax. It mainly applies to automobiles that are bought outside the city and things like that. So I monitor that like every quarter with the state to make sure we're getting all our correct revenues. The
Do
one
we
thing-
have open vacant buildings that maybe we could try to draw some business to that?
We try to do that quite a bit here within the staff. We've got 2 buildings on the west side of Prairie View that will probably never be leased because it's hard to deal with. And then there's one of the businesses went out, when did they go out, Bill? October?
September, October, somewhere around there. He had lost his liquor license way before that, and they finally cracked down on him. He stopped
We
showing
got
up.
that. And then almost the entire top half of the 2-story building is vacant, but that's being renovated by the owners. And as soon as they get that renovated, they wanted it a more flexible space. It had a lot of walls and partitions and like 12 office spaces. They're gonna make it more open format and try to lease that out too. But we don't get much on that unless something retail goes in. So really the only retail we got is Audubon, the tattoo place, the the quilting lady, and Gators.
Okay.
Well, I take that back. There's a little bit that comes from the auto repair shop, and most of their stuff is wholesale work. And then the tinting shop does some retail, but they not as big revenue as Audubon or Gators. The one thing I was going to mention, you might see that December was pretty low. Again, that's mainly reflected in that our insurance premiums have really gone up about 8 times from what they were 5 years ago because of all the lawsuits we're defending. I expect that to come to a close, so I'm hoping that for 24 we can cut that number down substantially and get back on our normal track. Any other questions?
What's our budget for COVID?
Our current budget?
No.
It should be in there. I think we normally put in about 6,000 plus or minus 2,000 because it's a wild guess because we don't know how much snow we're going to get.
What's the average vote?
Excuse me?
What's the average vote?
Jessica, have you got the bill yet for the snowplow?
I haven't seen it yet.
It's broken down into 2 components. One is the amount of hours that it takes to go and the number of inches, and then how many tons of salt and sand they put on. The price on the salt and sand we've been able to hold for 5 years because we've got him to inventory it, and then his hourly cost hasn't gone up at all because his truck's entirely depreciated. So we've got a pretty good deal with, I think it's called KC Mulch Ball.
KC Mulch.
It's down on 9 Highway.
Oh, okay, and they're the ones that do our snow removal?
They are contract snow removal.
Oh, okay. I just think,
You might see them, they're in a pretty good sized dump truck.
yeah, I've seen, but I just didn't know who. I didn't catch it fast enough.
John, where do the lawsuit expenses fall?
They fall under insurance because they hit our premiums with whatever they have to spend to defend us.
And what are we being defended on?
All the former employees' lawsuits.
Former employee lawsuits? You mean, there's the former employees suing us?
Right. For the last 5 years.
Okay.
Do you remember the letter that went out anonymously to all the residents of the city back in
2019.
September 2019?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
related to
yeah.
wrongful termination claims.
Oh, okay, that's.
Because they asserted some federal civil rights claims, 1983. They get removed to federal court, and then they get kicked back, and then they refile, and they go back to federal court. So, yeah, the wheels of justice turn slowly.
Any other questions or on the paid bills? And I'll wait till everyone's ready, and we'll have a motion to approve paid bills resolution 01-1124 when everyone's ready.
Do we have a judge? We do? And what do they do?
Handle all the municipal board cases.
I have a motion to approve paid bills resolution 01-1124.
That's it.
All in favor? All opposed? Hearing none, paid bills resolution 01-1124 passes as presented.
Mayor, who motioned?
And Larry seconded.
I just can't, you two sit together if we're not looking.
Next item is mayor's remarks, just maybe 2 or 3. Yeah, the bridge is open and it's looking pretty good. As a result of that, though, we've had a lot of increased speed. And last meeting, one of the residents had asked us to check about if we could do anything to more safely allow them to enter and exit their driveway. So we spoke to all the entities that have jurisdiction on 72nd Street. And we're going to post a sign on the post right before that driveway so that we can slow down people. And then some of our new ordinance modifications will allow us to ticket people if they're violating this sign. So that will make it safer for our residents to get out on 72nd Street because there's a slight hill as you approach west of Chatham that it kind of makes that a little bit of a blind spot. So we went ahead and ordered this. We're going to get it mounted as soon as the weather is conducive. The second item is, this is another election year for 2024. The election is the first Tuesday in April. And again, for 4 out of the last 5 years, we've only had enough people registering for the election as we have positions. But because the residents didn't want to vote to have that ordinance in place where if we don't have any challengers, we wouldn't have to hold an election, so we could save a lot of money from the city if we don't have them. If that's something the board wants to consider, I think we still got time to put it on the ballot. If you want to consider that again, because if we only have 3 openings, we have 3 positions, you know, spending thousands of dollars on an election doesn't really make this any better, and nobody loses their right to vote. It's just they still got all the writing capabilities. So that's something you guys might think about before the deadline. If we want to put that on the ballot, we can do that again.
I have one quick comment on the 72nd Street stuff.
Yes.
The new curb that's in front of the northbound turn onto the highway. I don't know if you guys saw, there's a cone there that's looking like someone took a chunk out of it. Would we consider painting that at all, or do we?
That's MoDOT property, we don't have the jurisdiction, we talked to MoDOT like 3 times and said it's gonna hit once, and now it's gonna hit twice. Are you gonna paint it? They don't know, they don't traditionally paint curbs. So we've asked them to review what they can do. I don't know if you've seen those hash marks on some of the intersections where it kind of guides you around the corner. We asked if we could put those on the pavement to do that. We've also asked if there's maybe a breakaway reflective thing we could put there. So we've got to get permission from the permitting department, and the traffic engineers have to study that. So probably going to be summer before we do it.
I'll be an act
And
of
then-
God to get,
Excuse me?
I'll be an act of God to get.
And then, because it's the same way westbound as you go southbound on I-29, they got that same old jot out. So I said, let's try to make it so it's more visible and stuff like that. Jessica, do you have a calendar? Do you know what the second Tuesday is in April? I was going to remind everybody on the election. Yeah, so the election will be April, no, I think it's the first Tuesday.
First Tuesday is the second.
Yeah, it'll be the 2nd of April at the Methodist Church. So in the positions that are being run, mayor is open, I'm running, Winston's running, and James running. Is that correct?
Winston.
Oh, Winston, I'm sorry.
I like Winston.
And those are the 3 candidate positions, one for each ward and a mayor position for another 2 years. Any other questions, comments? If not, that's all I have for mayor's remarks. As far as new business, we got one of the business licenses that I'll let Jessica manage, and I'll let her manage the ordinance from there.
I don't even have a copy of the business license. If you have any copy of that.
Oh, is it in my packet?
That's the very back, it should be. It's business that's been here for several years at least. Massage Therapeutics by Ally. They've had any issues with anything with her location or business.
So all we need is just a motion to approve the business occupation license for Massage Therapeutics by Aldermen. Any questions, comments? Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Second? Occupation license approved. Next order of business will be ordinance 870. I think everybody's had a chance to look at it. We can have some discussion on it, and once we're finished with the discussion, if there is any, Jessica will read it by title twice, and we'll ask for a motion to approve.
Before I read it by title, there was some discussion about this before we actually called to order. Just to be clear, everything you see on this highlighted is new language, entirely new provisions. The first section is chapter 100 is just the very general section of the ordinances that kind of establishes the authority and the jurisdiction of the city to do certain things. And there have been a lack of the default provisions that you usually see in city codes regarding default penalty provisions. In other words, if I haven't gone through the code extensively, but I have on occasion stumbled across things where there's no specific penalty lined out, which is when you should have that default provision. So that's one of the biggest sections of chapter 100 that we added. The rest of it is more to do with interpretation. If we were to have a challenge to an ordinance, the rules of construction for how that ordinance should be interpreted, intent, all of that sort of thing, legalese. And then with regard to the chapter 300, all of the 300s. Those are all part of the traffic code. That these changes are very minimal. As Mayor was saying, these all stem largely from the new construction and trying to make sure our no parking zones are all current, and don't think there was really much else to that. So we just cleaned up the definition of intersection, and then
If you put on there, improve public safety, no parking on 72nd Street at all. No place to park.
right, and then we updated the schedule is just the kind of official listing of those streets or sections of streets that are prohibited parking all the time. So, whenever you all want me to read it by title, I will do so. Or if anyone has any questions, now's the time.
What about parking on city property?
This doesn't address that other than streets are city property, so.
There's a car has been parked here for several months.
And that,
With the illegal
city doesn't
tags.
own this lot, so that's whoever, I don't know.
That's not city parking?
No.
The city doesn't own hardly any property at all. We own the footprint of this building and the streets and the sewers.
Don't say anything about like bicycle lanes? Is that something?
That would be in a different part of the code, and there I actually have, in looking at some of the stuff I was doing today, I know a few meetings ago, at some point there was discussion or concern about the motorized bicycles, so that's probably going to be my next suggestion. I was going to ask, I don't know if anybody's still noticing them, weather right now is, you've probably not seen them as much, but I think we
It's
probably
still the
should have
same,
something.
it's still the same kids that are doing it, and with them being kids again, I'm hesitant to chase them down. They want to be chased. Platte County's dealt with them several times, but we're not, and it's just, I'm not going to pursue it personally.
I know, for instance, Weatherby just passed one fairly recently that looks pretty good, and I'll probably use that as a template.
In line with that, we have that grant coming up for the crosswalks and the bike only up. Once that construction's done, that's when I would like to go ahead and put an ordinance in place, because then we have a designated area that we can put designated teeth in, and then we can do something about it.
Do we have any bike lanes anywhere on city streets?
Not in Plattewoods proper. They're all
Anything on 72nd that will be anyway, so.
They're all on the Kansas City side right now, but when we get this, we will have some, and then at that point, we need to put an ordinance in place to enforce.
As it stands now, and how it will continue to stand, is essentially vehicles, motorized or not, bicycles or otherwise, are subject to the same rules of the road.
So I was kind of just curious as far as parking, and if we move into having bicycle lanes, how that would be enforced, with parking in bicycle lanes, but.
We don't have any, I can't imagine, and the streets are so narrow that we would ever have.
That will
Is that
come,
dedicated lanes?
that will come up because unlike Lone Ridge, where there is no place to park on Lone Ridge, so it's prohibited for the entire city limits. On Parade, you have a 100-foot right-of-way. There will be ability to park cars that you got 40 feet on either side of the asphalt. And we will have a bicycle lane in there, so when that gets constructed, that's why we need that ordinance, so that people won't park on the bicycle trail. Any other questions, comments, discussion on ordinance 870? From the public? The board? If not, just go, you want to read by title twice, please?
Proposed ordinance number 870, an ordinance revising chapter 100, chapter 389, chapter 355, and chapter 365 of the City of Plattewoods Municipal Code relating to general provisions, parking regulations, and traffic code penalties. Again, ordinance number 870, an ordinance revising chapter 100, chapter 300, chapter 355, and chapter 365 of the City of Plattewoods Municipal Code relating to general provisions, parking regulations, and traffic code penalties.
Questions, comments, discussion? If not, is there a motion to approve? Did you read it twice? Second?
Second move.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And roll call? State your name.
Fred Snyder? Aye.
Here, Craig? Aye.
Larry Boyd, aye.
Motion passed, ordinance passed as presented. With that, the only other old business we've got, because a lot of these new ordinances, like the short term, have a lot of legal repercussions, so we're just making sure that we don't pass something that's gonna get the city in trouble. So we're taking time, so we're still working on the right-of-way access ordinance, which will deal with what we can and can't do to utilities on that. And we have to follow the state statute on that because a lot of the cellular companies and cable companies have lobbied Jeff City, and they really cut out what cities can do independently, and they made it more of a state-regulated item.
Along this topic, I saw, occasionally I look at the Facebook page, because I'm a glutton for punishment. There was some discussion of new residents asking about Google Fiber. You'll have constituents asking about that. We went through a little negotiation back and forth with them, at least a year ago,
Oh,
thereabouts.
4 years ago now.
Well, recently we kind of did again, and essentially they don't want to pay the franchise fee. They think we should waive what all the other utilities, all the other service providers have to pay a percentage based on their customer list here in the city. Google said, no, thank you. So.
And my argument to them was, it's passed through to the residents.
So it could be as high as 5%. We don't have anything to do with the calculations, so we just get a check every month from each of the providers.
It's a pass-through, so like you'll see on your gas bill, your electric bill, your phone bill, there's a little franchise tax that goes to your Plattewoods. That's it, and it's a pass-through, so it's not affecting Google's profitability at all. So I figure, if the residents want to pay it and want it to be enforced, then that's what the city's going to do. And that would be that hard.
Why should we waive it for them and not everybody else?
Exactly. Well, then we did that, we lose 1/3 of our revenue and the city be bankrupt.
And we'd also then get
There are some
complaints
across the street.
from all the other providers, and why are they getting special treatment? So then it's not working as well.
Yeah.
And our geographics aren't desirable for any of these internet companies. Because when you have 2 acre, 3 acre lots, you don't have the density that like a North Lakes or what do you call that down there, West Lake has. They don't get the revenue per linear foot here that they would somewhere else, so they don't get too excited about it anyway. Because when they first announced it to Kansas City, I had talked to Rachel, and she says, no, we're never going to go to Plattewoods. So,
What do most of our people have? I mean, what's the most popular provider?
the two we have in the city are AT&T Uverse and Spectrum. Those are the only two we have.
I have Spectrum and, it's a constant. It's only something. And my bill is ridiculously high.
Yeah.
And I've cut channels off of it and everything else, and I'm just about ready to drop the whole shebang and start streaming.
As you're probably aware, an AT&T Uverse only goes up the west side of 9, it goes down 72nd, it comes up to Tomahawk, and that's about it. So it only covers about 20% of the city anyway.
Yeah, I was told I couldn't get Uverse at my house. I had to get a dish or something.
Well, I mean, if
Because
you
when I
put a
looked
dish,
into,
that's different, but yeah.
no, I mean with AT&T, when I tried to get AT&T Uverse one time, because my friend has that over in Gladstone, there was something, I couldn't get it at my house.
How
I
long
was
ago
gonna
was
have
that?
to get, huh?
How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, I don't know, I'm a really bad judge of time. It's been several years.
Well, the reason is, those 2 boxes are there. It's right in your yard.
Huh. Well, I mean, I know there's AT&T boxes there,
Yeah,
and those are for the,
that's U-verse, that's internet.
We've been really pleased with their service, and it's been affordable, so it might be worth a call.
you what?
We have their service, and it's been affordable, and we've been really pleased with it. So, I mean, just for internet, we don't have cable TV, but if you're interested in that, it might be worth a call.
And
Yeah, I've been thinking about dropping my cable TV, and just doing the streaming bit, but, I didn't wanna jump out of the frying pan into the fire from Spectrum to AT&T, because I sure thought they had told me I had to have maybe that changed out when they put that stuff in over there.
well, in that, and just from other business ventures I run, when you're talking to AT&T, they're so big, they don't talk to each other, and I meet with the president of AT&T Missouri once a year, and he basically said, we've got institutional, we got industrial, we got commercial, we got residential, we've got public safety. So if you don't know what product you want, because I had it signed up for one of my businesses 4 times, and then the day before they show up to install, they cancel, because I can't install it because we don't have your service in your area. I go, 4 people in the building got it, what do you mean you don't have it? So you've got to be more patient.
Okay, so maybe I just got the wrong person too.
It's hard to figure out.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's pretty bad when you're paying more for your cable bill than you're paying for your electric bill. I was like, this is ridiculous. Of course, I got my electric bill on level pay, but still, after last summer, it's still higher.
So that's kind of where we're at. Again, continuing trying to stay on top of things, keep on track of things, and keep things moving. With that, I don't know of any other business. The next meeting will be February 8th at 7. If there's no other questions, comments, I appreciate your participation. Stay warm over the weekend, and there's a motion to adjourn. Second? All in favor?
All right.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.